AskReddit by Muffin Utensil. What's something you don't think you'll ever do again in your life? Say yes when my gut is telling me no. What about when your mind is telling you no, but your body's telling you yes? I did the wild cave tour at Mammoth Cave where it's like a 6-hour caving adventure and I'll never do it again. I didn't think I was claustrophobic, but crawling through space is so narrow you have to lay flat on your stomach and shimmy your body with no room to even lift your head or turn around. Never again. Some of the areas you crawl through are so tiny that they actually have height and chest circumference limits so people don't get stuck. Nightmare scenario. I would never. Lining up early in the day at a concert with general admission tickets so I can get to the front row. Then never leaving that spot for the entire concert so I can hold my spot while the main act performs. Seen Metallica 24 times live. Always did this in the early years until I realized you can still enjoy it just as much further away where you can breathe lol. Deleted. If it happens, you better call the news. Heroin. Been sober since the 17th of November, 2018 and my life is better than it's ever been. Edit. Thank you to everyone who has given me updates and awards. I've read through and been able to identify with so many who have commented. When you were stuck in that lifestyle, you honestly believe that you can't survive without it. Now looking back, I don't know how I survived so long with it. Extremely lucky. Yeah, I had a great uncle who couldn't kick the habit and died from complications at 62. To be fair, he did almost every drug, so making it to 62 is an achievement in of its own. Feed my dog per pitch in a sat Starbucks, his farts in the car after were death. You were playing games with nature that shouldn't be played. Climb stairway to heaven in Hawaii. I took the legal route. There were several escarpments and super narrow trails. One bad step and you can die up there. Never heard of this one. Where is it? Your description makes me think of Angel's Ladder in Zion. I have wanted to hike that, but recognize that in my late 60s my balance isn't quite what it used to be, so it's off my list. Balance isn't bad, just not mountain goat like it used to be. Base my entire sense of self-worth on somebody else. It wrecked me. Hopefully, chemo. In remission for 3 years now, still going strong. Edit. Thank you for all the love. I feel that man. Got 3 more treatments to do before I'm free, but I'm in remission. D. Pick up and snuggle the kids. They're grown now with kids of their own. My 17-year-old was having a rough time and she asked me to come cuddle. I've never moved so fast in my life. She hasn't asked for a cuddle in years. Skydive. Biggest rush but once is enough. My wife went tandem skydiving and her main chute didn't open and they had to use the reserve. Then about a year later her friend called her and said one of the instructors they had went with had died in an accident. Get married. I lost my husband to cancer 7 years ago when he was 48 and I was 45. I can't imagine ever loving someone that much again. I can relate. My husband passed away unexpectedly when I was 38 and he was 41. That was 1-2 years ago and I can't imagine getting married again, but my kids are still young so who knows what the future will bring when I'm an empty nester. Ride a roller coaster. You'll take care of your back, because when it goes, your life choices are reduced. Yep. I've gotten muscle spasms just from moving the wrong way. I won't even go to an amusement park anymore. Trust the electric company to trim the oak trees in my front yard. They chopped down 2 mature trees and left the firewood in a giant pile in the driveway as a favor. Fuck you Duke Progress Energy, fuck you. I'm so sorry. I've known other people have the same experience with trees being trimmed. There's a sense of grief and frustration. Cocaine. Edit. I have not done it for over 30 years. I was hooked for a couple years in Florida when it was everywhere and dirt cheap in the 1980s. The thought of it now nauseates me. Yup. I got asked about this from a friend not too long ago. She knew how far I went down that road. She asked if I ever get the urge. It's been like 15 years. I do. But the difference is now it wouldn't be fun. It would be sad and only in service of an addiction. I lost a good friend a couple of years ago from this shit heart attack at 40. I don't want to join him. Give birth. Giving birth seems so painful and traumatic. I'm surprised there aren't more one and don'ts. Go to the mall with my friends and watch a movie at the theater. I'm 39 and I took my 80-year-old neighbor to see Barbie yesterday. She was my 11th grade English teacher and we have a strong bond. Anyone wondering, she laughed and cried as much as I did. She also thanked me profusely for inviting her. If you want to make someone's day, bring an elderly woman to see Barbie. Go to a concert where I have to stand. I'm too old for that shit, please just give me seats. Deleted. Get married. Me too. I'm married. Hopefully, drink alcohol. 6 years sober. Congrats. Keep it up. To Pripyat. My oncologist joked that it's probably how I caught cancer. I visited the USSR a couple months after Chernobyl. The advice at the time was to not eat fish and damp, stay out of the rain. Most meals were included in the trip, but we didn't get to pick our entrees. It was basically take it or leave it. And we got soaked in the rain at least once. When I was diagnosed, I couldn't help but wonder if there was a connection. Meth 17 years sober. Didn't realize it had been so long. Was feeling like shit today but that's cheered me up. So glad I'm nowhere near having that life. I remember sitting on a bed somewhere, use your imagination, just praying to a god I didn't believe in to get me out of there. Had a lot of hell from that point still to come but that was the tipping point. I was going to leave that life if I had to go scorched earth on everything I had and damp everyone I knew. Lose myself while trying to make someone else happy. Except to reconcile after husband's infidelity. It's hell. I'm sorry, hugs to you. My husband told me he is not in love with me. War. Would not recommend 1/10. There's a good reason they send kids to fight them. Smoking cigarette. I sometimes have dreams where I am smoking, but never want to do it in reality again. Be a police dispatcher. I did it for 2 months. My co-workers sucked and were super annoying but I found the job to be pretty easy up until I got a call from someone whose friend posted suicidal stuff online and they are calling to do a welfare check. A few months before I was that person calling and my friend ended up killing himself. I froze. Decided it's not for me. My co-workers all being dogshit people didn't help. One was super racist against Asian people. Anytime someone would have an Asian name after she got off the phone with them she would either say they speak very good English or they don't speak either English very well. A guy got shot and called 911 for help and died on the phone with one of my co-workers. When she was describing the call to us she was crying laughing when describing the guy gasping for air and playing it out for us. She also talked about all the time she drank and drive. I reported her to HR then a couple months later she was chosen as dispatcher of the year. Every sentence just worse and worse. Having sushi lunch from bodega prior to an in-person job interview. Sounds like a Seinfeld episode. Have another child. I have one. And if I knew then what I know now about myself, my mental health, and my abilities as a parent I would not have had even one child. Don't get me wrong, I love my kid to death, but watching them go through shit is tough. And knowing that I have caused some of their troubles fucking sucks. I've actively tried to be a better human and parent and there are a lot of positives. We're close, they're a good kid, We're in therapy together. But fuck man, I wish I had known more about myself. Download a car. I have been trying to reach you about your virus extended warranty. Casually date someone who is already casually dating a friend. Pro tip, it's never that casual. There are almost always more feelings involved than everyone is willing to admit, and at least one person is going to walk away hurt. If you're new to the party, there's a good chance it's going to be you. In general, casually dating people beyond a few get to know you dates is probably not my bag. Good chunk of that is on me. I need to build up my confidence, but I'm just not a competitive person, and have no interest in trying to win over a gaggle of guys. Take M, I'll find someone else, or I won't. Live with a roommate. Do a flip into a pool. I'll never do a somersault in the water again. I loved doing that as a kid, and gave it a try in a motel pool a few years ago. But I didn't have sinus issues as a kid. It felt like my head was going to explode. Eat a hot pepper to find out if it's really that hot. I remember the burning in my mouth. Don't do it, guys. Open thread. Control plus F salvia. Upvote and close thread. Drink until I'm drunk. I have a drink like once a year and one is more than enough. Accept someone cheating on me, hopefully. In the past I've chosen to keep the relationship going because of things like sunken cost fallacy, keeping the family intact, etc. But it's just not worth it. The price I paid and still pay every day is too high, and in the case of my ex-wife, the cheating didn't stop. Go fishing in a tiny boat in rough weather. Deleted. Now I got to know what the argument was. Cliff jumping from 20 meters. Did it when I was 18. Did it again at 21 and said that's dangerous. 20 plus years after that went back and said holy shit, that was a crazy thing to do. Trust a fart. That's lame. That's not living as far as I'm concerned. What's the point of living if you can't Eve? I gotta go. Trust people who are incapable of ever accepting fault, and especially people who enable them. Meth. Started using with an ex-girlfriend. It was fun at first and the sex was out of this world, but not worth it. Go back to prison or remarry my ex-wife. Edit, not related problems. Say, there's no way that guy becomes president. Have a period. Hysterectomy. Combine finances with another person. Be in as bad mental state as I was a year ago. Self-harm. I'm almost a year clean. Be a victim of abuse.